I no longer be myself. Will I ever see?
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. Still haven't come up with a name. It's it's not really as easy as a lot of people think. Like, you want something that is that sounds nice, but at the same time you want something meaningful that will last. So I'm really taking my time with the whole naming of this podcast. But really, I have some friends who were just really supportive about the idea. And so I think I just want to first of all say thank you so much. Just looking at the video right now, the first podcast has like 89 views. For me, that's incredible. Okay, of course lah, like 5 of them were me. Obviously one of it was to just check if the video was okay and everything was working fine. And for about 4 to 5 times, I think I re-listened to that podcast. I think it's a bit faux pas to say that you watch your own videos, but really that's what I did. I think mainly because, like, once again, this whole idea of a podcast is because it's for me, and just listening to myself and listening to my thought process and seeing how I can mature and really self-improve from where I was before, week by week, or 2 weeks by 2 weeks, or month by month. And I think this podcast is a really good sort of like place for me to measure where I am and whether I can be better than what I was talking about, like, whenever the previous podcast was. So first of all, thank you so much to everybody who actually put a bit of effort to click on the video, to actually listen to it for about like a good 8 minutes, I think. Like, don't worry if you didn't listen to the whole thing, don't worry about that. But it just really means so much to me that people actually took the time and effort to listen to it. And it's just so humbling lah. It's absolutely incredible. So without wasting any more time, I think I want to talk about today's topic, something that I've been feeling for quite a while now, and I've been let me think. I've been doing freelancing for a good about 2 years. I started when I was still in uni. I graduated and I freelanced for the good entire year of 2018, and in 2019 that's when I took it full time. I'm no longer freelancing, I'm no longer studying on the side. This is my full-time job, and there were a lot of challenges that come. I think the first thing, I want to acknowledge the good that came out of it. Not gonna lie, money is pretty good for a fresh graduate, in my opinion. I'm not thinking like, oh, do I have to save every single dollar that I have? Do I have to always eat the cheapest food available? No, I mean, it's not the same as you being able to blindly spend. I think nobody should be doing that. But it's just very rewarding and very encouraging, knowing that I don't have to worry about money, and that's a huge blessing for me. But the thing is that when going full time, there were more challenges that I initially anticipated. The main challenge that I always thought I would have was that I have the lack of clients, and meaning the lack of money. But that has been far from the case. In fact, that has always been the easiest thing to handle. Getting money and work has always been the easiest thing to handle, because it just came. It has come, and I know I'm going to reach a point where I'm going to have to start selling myself, but I haven't reached there yet. I'm just preparing. But like, the biggest thing that has been plaguing me, I guess, for the good half of this year, or for the good entire year, so far, is that it's been very lonely. And I don't just mean lonely as a relationship. Now, if I have friends that are tuning in, if you don't know, I broke up with my girlfriend in the beginning of the year, and so it's been about a good 4 months that I've been single. it was a rough time, but I think at the same time it was probably good that the relationship ended. There were a lot of things that were just not healthy for me as an individual, but that's something for another day. But so I don't mean lonely from like a relationship perspective. I think that's one aspect, but it's just lonely by meaning that being by yourself. And I think that not a lot of people talk about this. And in fact, I feel like a lot of people. Okay, wait. I mean, I don't want to generalize that. I feel like a lot of people nowadays, we are just lonely, and it's just that we think we think that we're the only ones that are lonely, because I think Instagram, Facebook, everything on social media is so curated to the point where when I think of a specific friend, I can imagine socialite. If I think of another specific friend, workaholic. If I think about a specific friend, it's very, very specific to the person. And I think one thing that we don't talk about, or we don't post on social media, myself included, is the bad sides, the sides when everything seems down, or when everything seems hard. And as working alone, it's just been very lonely. It's a lot worse than it sounds. It's like, I think a lot of us have never truly been alone, meaning that you have to think about everything on your own. You have to entertain yourself. Be you have to be your biggest supporter. You have to be your biggest encouragement. You have to be everything that another person could help you with. And I think that's what truly being alone means. I mean, like, I have my family, I have my friends, but at the same time, I can't always be going to them and asking them like, oh, I can't always be going to my friends and telling them like, hey guys, I'm going through a really, really rough time, because everybody goes through their own problems. And I think like one of the reasons why for me being in like a relationship has been really helpful is because having that somebody who is accountable and can really always be there to help you has been a huge support in my studies and everything else. But now that being a freelancer, putting relationships aside, just going through everything alone, finding work, getting there yourself, you meet people when you shoot, but you don't build relationships, you don't build connections. And by connections, I mean personal one-on-one connections. You build work connections, but you don't build friends. And that has been very detrimental to my health, because like there are times where I just can't sleep because I go through multiple different kinds of problems, and there's just nobody that's there. You know what I mean? Like when I'm having a trouble with an edit, like as a solo filmmaker and photographer, like nobody can understand the same kind of issues that you're going through for that specific project, because you shot it alone. And I'm not gonna lie, it's every time when I go through like Instagram and I see my friends having fun with like in big groups, having dinners and things like that, I'm not gonna lie, I'm to be honest pretty jealous. And I know it's quite easy to say that like, hey, you should just go out and make friends, but it's not as easy as just like just doing that. It's like there's this whole social boundary that you have to think about. You have to be like, are you being too forceful and things like that? Or maybe I'm just overthinking things. I have no idea. But really, it's been difficult sometimes to just not being able to sleep at night, because work has been so stressful. You're rushing deadlines. People are chasing you for like the work and things like that. And so like that, this is one of the biggest issues I feel like nobody talks about when you're going full time. We always talk about like how to get more money, how to convert clients and things like that, but nobody talks about the personal issues and how to deal with them. In fact, I have no idea how to deal with them. And one of the reasons why, as I mentioned in this podcast, is that the reason why I started this podcast is really as also another form of therapy for myself. Just being able to talk things to whoever is listening makes me feel much better, makes me feel like I'm not alone. And I think I just want to close on this is that, like, I think a lot of people tend to view it's like, oh, you need to learn how to be independent. You need to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. Those things like that. You shouldn't be able to. You shouldn't need to rely on anyone. And I think that is a false and almost impossible situation or kind of mentality to obtain, regardless of how independent you are, because there's gonna be times when you're just inundated with like thoughts that can be so difficult to just handle by your own, especially when it comes to work. And I'm really, really thankful that I have other freelancer friends who are also, I'm not so sure if they go through the same kind of personal issues as me, but people who are willing to work together, who are willing to like split costs, who are willing to like earn less because they can have somebody else, or they can have another friend along to work together. If I could give an advice to anybody who's looking to be a freelancer, is that start to build not just a connection between clients, but connection between other freelancers and other filmmakers and photographers, because relationships and friendships are a huge asset. That's something that you cannot, it's not something that you can buy, but it's something that you have to earn. And the bigger you can create your crowd, and the bigger you can have your network of people that you can trust, and the more people that you can rely on whenever work gets a bit too difficult, will help you so much in the long run. And that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm just trying to find friends that I can be close with, that friends that I can really, while I don't burden them, but I'm able to talk to, and who understands me. They don't necessarily have to give me a solution. They just need to be there when things are tough. Just like you guys. And that one person who's listening on the other side. Man. So this was pretty long. Thank you so much for listening. If you have topics that you would like me to talk about, or there are topics that you feel like I should learn from, I'll be very, very happy. And if you could drop a comment or just drop me a message, because I'm always looking for ways of self-improvement. Taking this year again just to discover myself creatively, what I want to do, what I want to become, who I want to be, my identity as Sam, and a lot of things like that. And I'm just glad. I feel like I'm on the right path. I feel like if I just continue in this, I'll eventually reach it. Yeah. So thank you so much, and I will see you or at least I will hear you, or you'll hear me in the next podcast. Until then, thanks so much.